We are only a few weeks away from the Super Bowl. Wildcard weekend is finished up, and while it wasn't exactly the best football we've seen, looking at you, Justin Herbert, the rest of the playoffs are going to be insane. In this video, I'm going to be predicting the entire rest of the NFL playoffs and crowning my Super Bowl 59 champion. If you enjoy this video, then please drop a like and subscribe if you're new. Subscribe and take just a second, and it really helps me out. Thank you, and let's get started. 4-seed Houston Texans versus 1-seed Kansas City Chiefs. We'll start in the divisional round with the Chiefs taking on the Texans. The Chiefs managed to get the 1 seed, finishing the regular season an astonishing 15-2, though you could really argue that they went 15-1 considering they played all backups against the Broncos starters in week 18. Patrick Mahomes may not have had his best statistical season, and admittedly he did start slow, but he's been playing his best ball as of late. In his last 6 games, he has 1,524 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. The rest of the offense was pretty solid. Xavier Worthy and Travis Kelce had fine seasons, but nothing amazing, and they only finished 15th in points per game, but their defense was really good and they managed to find ways to win every week, however weird it was. They went 11-0 in 1-score games. This might be the worst 15-win team we've seen in a while, but they're still damn good. The Texans managed to shut down the Chargers offense in the wild card, surprisingly beating them 32-12. Their defense absolutely suffocated Justin Herbert, forcing him to throw 4 interceptions, which is more than he had thrown all season long. Will Anderson had a great game, finishing with 6 pressures and 1.5 sacks. On an offense, they took a while to wake up, but they eventually did. CJ Stroud was fine, but Joe Mixon and Nico Collins were amazing, and that's all they really needed to win. CJ Stroud now has more playoff wins than Kyler Murray, Justin Jefferson, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, and TJ Watt combined, so that's interesting. But just like last year, I think they'll lose in the divisional round, this time to the Chiefs 27-20. The Chiefs defense should be able to contain the Texans offense the same way they did last time they played. And come on, Patrick Mahomes isn't losing in his first round. We all know this. 3-seed Baltimore Ravens versus 2-seed Buffalo Bills. This might just be the best game of the season. The two best teams in the AFC, the two leading MVP candidates. It's going to be a fun one. The Bills allowed one opening drive touchdown to the Broncos and then completely shut them down the rest of the game. Josh Allen was great as usual and connected with Ty Johnson on a spectacular touchdown on 4th and 1. James Cook was amazing, carrying the ball 23 times for 120 yards, and even Curtis Samuel managed to have a great game, finishing as the Bills' leading receiver with 68 yards and a touchdown. And like I mentioned earlier, the defense put the Broncos on lockdown. The Broncos only had 224 yards, less than half of the Bills' 471 yards. They went just 2 for 9 on 3rd down. They held the ball for just 18 minutes all game. Yeah, the Bills held the ball for 70% of the game. That's insane. Everybody expected the Bills to win, but I don't think anybody expected this. The Ravens took down the Steelers easily, a real shocker, I know. This game was over at halftime, as the Ravens were holding a 21-0 lead and never gave it up. This means that the Steelers have now lost their last 4 wildcard games, which is pretty sad. Lamar didn't even have to do much, but he was efficient both through the air and on the ground, and Derrick Henry had nearly 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. The defense allowed some garbage time points, but was overall really good. They made the Steelers' run game entirely non-existent, and the only receiver that was able to even somewhat produce was George Pickens, who's probably not even going to be on the Steelers roster next year. So both of these teams had easy wildcard matchups, but this divisional game is going to be insane, and it's really hard to pick a winner here. Both of these teams are practically even. The Bills are 2nd in points per game, while the Ravens are 3rd. The Bills are 11th in points allowed per game, while the Ravens are 9th. Both of these teams can throw the ball, run the ball, and play good defense. Both of these quarterbacks are desperate to get the playoff choker narrative off them, but I think there's a couple factors that gives one team the edge over the other. For starters, this game is being played in Buffalo's Highmark Stadium, a notoriously difficult place to play. Second, the Ravens are going to be without Zay Flowers, so their passing game is going to be limited, and that's going to allow the Bills to key in on the run game. And in the end, I have the Bills winning 31-30 and advancing into the conference championship round to try and finally beat the Chiefs when it matters most. 6-seed Washington Commanders versus 1-seed Detroit Lions. We're now on to the NFC with the Commanders against the Lions. The Commanders' magical run continues, beating the Bucs 23-20 on a last-second doink field goal by Zane Gonzalez. His OCD really helped with that kick. I'm obviously referring to his outstanding clutch dexterity, duh. Anyway, Jaden Daniels really stole the show, having an incredible performance despite there being no run game supporting him. Both Terry McLaurin and De'Ami Brown had 89 yards and a score, and the defense made a couple key stops and was able to take advantage of Baker's missed handoff. Jaden Daniels is having a very CJ Stroud-like rookie season, being the 2nd overall pick, going to a team with a first-year defensive head coach, starting off slow before exploding in week 3, helping an underrated receiver have a breakout season, leading their team to a playoff berth and winning a playoff game before taking on an absolute juggernaut in the divisional round. That juggernaut in this case is the Detroit Lions, who obtained the number 1 seed after thoroughly rocking the Vikings in week 18. Jahmyr Gibbs is absolutely incredible, and he scored every single one of the Lions' 4 touchdowns against Minnesota. And now that David Montgomery is back, things are only going to be scarier for the opposition. The Lions as a whole are finally starting to get healthy again. Alex Anzalone came back in week 18 and was really good. Terrion Arnold is fully healthy from his injury, and Ernest Rakestraw also might be good to go. Their Commanders are a really fun story, and it would be nice to see them in the conference championship, but I don't think that's going to happen. Their defense isn't going to be able to stop the Lions' offense whatsoever, and for the first time in channel history, I'm picking a team to score more than 40 points. Lions win 41-33 in an absolute thriller, and for the second time in a row, make it to the NFC title game. 4-seed Los Angeles Rams versus 2-seed Philadelphia Eagles. Our final divisional round matchup, the Rams head to Philly for a rematch against the Eagles. Things went pretty well for the Eagles last time these two matched up back in week 12, as that was the game where Saquon Barkley ran for 255 yards and 2 touchdowns. Speaking of Saquon Barkley, he was great in the wildcard game, having 119 rushing yards and basically carrying the Eagles offense. Their defense was the main highlight of that game, however, as they allowed just 10 points and forced 4 turnovers. They made Jordan Love look all kinds of ass, and Josh Jacobs was really the only person on the Packers who could actually do anything. The Eagles do have some offensive things to figure out, however, apart from Saquon, of course. They went just 2 for 11 on third downs, and despite forcing 4 turnovers, they were only able to possess the ball for a minute longer than the Packers did. Jalen Hurts wasn't particularly good, and AJ Brown spent more time reading on the sidelines than catching passes. However, I do think they can figure things out, but it's not going to be easy. The Rams are coming off a monumental thrashing of the Vikings, where they sacked Sam Darnold not once, not twice, not thrice, but 9 total times. That's tied for the most in a playoff game ever. Their defense made Sam Darnold look like a UFL quarterback and pressured him 27 times on 50 dropbacks, which is more than half. They shut down the run game, they shut down Justin Jefferson, they shut down everything. And on offense, they were solid as well. They didn't need to be any more than that. It was a great win by the Rams and a great win for the city of LA, which has obviously been going through a very hard time right now. However, unfortunately for the Rams, I think their playoff run ends here. The Eagles have the players on both offense and defense to take over this game, just like they did last time. I think Saquon is going to have another huge game and lead the Eagles to a 28-24 victory, and for the second time in Jalen Hurts' career, he moves on to the NFC Conference Championship. So here's my predicted playoff bracket after the divisional round. In the AFC, I have the Chiefs taking on the Bills, and in the NFC, I have the Lions taking on the Eagles. So let's get going with my conference championship predictions. 2-seed Buffalo Bills versus 1-seed Kansas City Chiefs. It seems as if every year these two teams face off in the playoffs, and it's an instant classic every single time. From their first matchup in 2021, where Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce combined for nearly 300 yards on their own, beating the Bills 38-24 to move on to the Super Bowl. To 2022, the classic 13-second game, but the Chiefs managed to drive 44 yards in 13 seconds to tie it up, and then win 42-36 in overtime, which inspired an entire rule change for playoff overtime. To 2024, where the things were finally looking good for the Bills, but Tyler Bass missed wide right and the Bills once again lost to the Chiefs. That's been the theme in every single playoff matchup between these two teams. Both offenses play really well, but in the end, the Chiefs always find a way to win. Back in week 11, the Bills beat the Chiefs 30-21, but as we've seen, the regular season result doesn't always match the postseason result. But I think this is the overall worst team the Chiefs have fielded in the Mahomes era, and Josh Allen is playing his best ball right now. I get it sounds insane, but I think this is finally the time that Josh Allen beats Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs 30-27, and the Bills, for the first time since 1994, make it to the Super Bowl. 2-seed Philadelphia Eagles versus 1-seed Detroit Lions. Over on the NFC, we've got another great matchup between the other 1 and 2 seeds. Both of these teams are a tier above everybody else in the NFC. Both have excellent run games, both have incredible skill position players, and both have excellent defenses when healthy. By this point, Aiden Hutchinson just might be back, which would be insane. He was on a Defensive Player of the Year pace before he got injured. There really isn't anything else to say about these teams. We all know how good they are. I do think the Eagles overall have the better defense, but the Lions have the better passing game and overall offense. I think this game honestly comes down to coaching, and I think we all know who has the advantage in that category. The Eagles are a pretty well-coached team, but the Lions have 3 legitimate head coaches on their staff, and that coaching has helped them get to where they are. It will be very close, but I think the Lions win 31-29 and advance to the Super Bowl for the first time in franchise history. So with that, my predicted Super Bowl matchup is set between the 2-seed Bills from the AFC and the 1-seed Lions from the NFC. These two played earlier back in week 15, where the Bills won in a thriller 48-42. These teams have the top 2 offenses in the NFL, and the most interesting part, neither of these teams have won a Super Bowl in franchise history, so this game is absolutely monumental. Both of these teams can run the ball about as well as anybody, as Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery are arguably the best running back duo in the league, and Josh Allen and James Cook are one of the best quarterback running back duos in the league. Both of these teams can pass the ball as well as anybody, as the Lions have excellent skill position players, and Josh Allen is, well, Josh Allen. These are the top 2 teams in the NFL for sure, and this game is going to be an absolute thriller. But in the end, I think this is going to go to the team with the better quarterback, and that's Josh Allen. I think the Bills win in an instant classic, 37-34. And finally, for the first time in franchise history, take home a Lombardi trophy. Josh Allen finally gets a Super Bowl ring and is immortalized in NFL history. Bills Mafia can celebrate, and I think we can all agree that the Bills deserve this. But that's it. Those are my 2025 playoff predictions and Super Bowl champion. Where do you agree? Where do you disagree? Comment down below. I also want to take a quick second to thank all of you for the support you guys have shown me on these prediction videos. They have been super fun to make, and I'm so glad you guys are enjoying them. That being said, if you enjoyed this video, then please like and subscribe. And that's it for me. See ya and enjoy the rest of the playoffs.